Okay, so we have a new episode of Legends and Leaders, and today it's great to have Sergio here. Sergio, you're behind a lot of different people's growth on social media and just helping their business grow in general. You've been developing personalized social media solutions for a long time. You've got an incredible list of clients, I think over 20 now, and they're doing hundreds of millions in sales. And you're the guy that's really helping them through your agency Influx get this type of growth and really get the type of results they want online through digital media. So I'm excited to have you here and to get into your story.
Fantastic, Ben. Thank you so much for the introduction. Hello, everybody. My name is Sergio. But yeah, pleasure to be here today.
Awesome. So how did your interest in the world of digital media, social media, wanting to be an entrepreneur in general and like build a business around this, how did that passion start?
Yeah, so it actually didn't start as an agency, right? The agency was kind of like an accidental success, right? Where it's like I got introduced to it by external patterns that came into my life. So it started as Amazon FBA. For a while, I wanted to help out my mom. I wanted to be able to kind of provide for my family because we didn't have too much when we first moved to the U.S. We came from Peru, and
Mm.
basically for the first year and a half of living here in the U.S. we were living based on savings, right? I lived with my mom by herself. She's a single mother, the best mother in the world. But basically, it was the whole time we were just living on what she had done in the past, right? So it was like all savings. She didn't make any money. She was a real estate agent. So obviously, you know how it goes. If you don't get sales for your business, you don't make money. So then I started doing FBA through an ad I saw on YouTube, right? So one day I was scrolling through YouTube, and then I just saw an ad pop up. It was like, hey, you can make 20 grand a month doing Amazon FBA. And I was like, let's try it. I went to my uncle, who was a doctor at the time. And I said, hey, can I please borrow 2 grand? I promise you, I'll make us everybody rich. Like, I'm going to make so much money. I went, grabbed the 2 grand, and completely failed. It was the worst experience ever. But it's part of how it goes, right? You can't expect your first business to be great if you don't have the knowledge to make it great. So that business failed because I didn't know how to market the product, right? So that's kind of like the pattern. Then I started a lawn mowing business. I didn't know how to get clients for it because I didn't know how to advertise. So I wasn't getting clients for it. It was failure as well. And then I was like, the easiest barrier to entry, and I was helping my mom doing media, like helping her do videos for real estate. And then through me helping her do videos for real estate, I started making some money on the side, invested into learning how to grow the business. And that's where I learned how to run ads for people and for myself and grow that part. So then I grew that agency up to, it was called Area Media at that time. I took it until like 2021. And then in 2021, I rebranded to Influx Media. And that's when all of this started.
hmm So part of the interest was just I need to learn how to market things because if I've got any idea, I've got to figure out how to get it out there. And then you're like, okay, I can go and apply these skills to other people. So how did you go and get your first client? How did you convince somebody to want to work with you?
Yes. So it was actually at the beginning was the media, right?
Mhm.
And obviously, since my mom was a real estate agent, I wanted to keep working with real estate agents. That's just kind of what made sense, right? So then I put myself where my ideal audience would be. I went into a event that was only for real estate agents. It was a networking event for real estate agents, and I just started pitching everybody. It's like, hey, what do you do, bro? At that point, I was like 14 to 15. I was like 15 at the time, like just turned 15. So I was going around. People weren't taking me seriously. Right? They're like, who is this kid? I've never networked. Like, obviously, my character has grown a lot since. And funny enough, I ended up posting a client from a guy that I went to. He was a sponsor of the event. I talked to him, and he wasn't a real estate agent. That was the only person in that room that was a real estate agent. He was a mortgage broker, right? So we started working together. I was editing his videos through CapCut, just simple caption edits, and I was also posting them online for him. So that was the first client I got. It was $500 a month, and it took me about like 4 months to get him.
And at that point in time, like what were you thinking about in terms of scaling this? Like how were you going to figure out how to scale this to more people to really build this into a business?
Yeah, I mean, I had no idea what I was doing, right? So I was just happy that I had somebody paying me to do videos for them because I'd be in the beach, right? And I'd just be thinking, it's like, this guy's paying me a whole car payment for me to do videos. Like, this is insane, right? Like, I couldn't fathom the fact that somebody was paying me $500. I had no idea what running a proper business was. So at that time, I couldn't even think it was possible to grow that more than like two more people paying me.
So how did you go and get more people and like and then really build this thing up? Like was it just hey, look at the results I've done here. You got to work with me.
Yeah, well, the biggest change for me was surrounding myself with people that were bigger minded. Like they had more experiences in life, and they've grown businesses in the past. So I met a couple kids in the gym. They were like 21, 22, and they were very, very successful for their age. They were running at that time a commerce platform where you could buy things with crypto, right? Like cars, jets, boats, shoes, everything you could think of was like super high end stuff, like designer shoes. People that had crypto, they wanted to get rid of it, buy something, watches, so they would do that. I learned a lot from them and their mindset, where it's like, oh, our membership is 10 grand, like you got to pay 10 grand to even be able to be part of it. And I was just like, well, there's a little bit more to business than just making $500 a month, right? So that's the first avenue that helped me grow, right? First, understanding that the mindset matters, right? You got to expand your mindset and surround yourself with people that inspire you. And then how I went to actually growing the business is first improve my quality, right? So becoming better at filming videos. One of the kids at the gym was also a real estate agent. He was doing really well, and I started working with him. So that gave me a leap to hang out with somebody that's more successful, getting referrals from him. The videos would get really good. He was a big agent, and then people would comment. He's like, "Hey, where did you get this video done?" Or they would text him, "Hey, can you refer me to a guy that did your video?" And that's really how I first started growing the business.
And you're doing all this without an office. Like it seems to be you're pretty proud of that. You have no office. How is it managing everything kind of virtually?
Yeah, so right now, no real office. It's a bunch of people committing in one vision, right? So a lot of people are like, how can I get people to work at an office or like work for me without having a physical space? Is you just have to have a really good vision and you have to motivate everybody in your team to work towards it, right? So right now, the we have everything on Slack. We have everything on a app called Notion, which is great. We just set up the tasks for the day, and it's based on KPIs, right? So we don't pay our employees hourly, we give them, it's kind of like bounties, right? So obviously they have like a base salary they work for, and then at the end, if they complete the task, they get bonuses for completing whatever they have to complete. So that's how we structure it, keep them motivated to finishing everything.
Do you think that you have like a competitive advantage because you're younger and like you're operating this, and a lot of these people like maybe didn't grow up in the social media age that you've kind of grown up in? It gives you like a different pulse on this. Like, do you think that's been a really big competitive advantage for you in this business?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of people take that as an excuse. Like, I can't start my own business because I'm so young. But in reality, people really respect it, right? There's two things. The first one is people see themselves when they were younger, right? A lot of successful people went through the hassle of cleaning plates, washing dishes, painting walls, all that handy stuff. And now they look at somebody that runs social media as that. It's like, hey, you're young, you're starting your business. They get inspired by it because at some point they were that. So that's one number one, right? Number two is they look at it in a lens just like they know something that I don't because he was grown up in a generation that grew up with it. So it's like they'll ask me things about how to run their computers. Like, bro, I have no idea how to use Microsoft Excel. You know what I mean? But they assume I do just because of my age.
And yeah, I mean, I'm sure they also like having a young guy around that can like keep them like on the pulse of what's going on in today's world with like social media and just digital and all of that. Because like there's probably a lot of businesses that are more established that really need to get their own. You just be aware of like what's happening in this area, and like you could do that for them.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people, there's more advantages of being young than not being young, right? Of being like older. And the only disadvantage of being older is that some people might not take you seriously, right? But if a business owner that's person that should be analytical and make good decisions for the business is going to choose somebody older just because of their age and not because of their abilities to get the work done and do it good, then that's not that client you really want, right? Because if that is their criteria to choose who's going to actually help their business grow, then there's going to be other flaws where they're just going to be basing their decisions on superficial things. So that's what I think is like, that's really the only thing. It's like a lot of people might not take you seriously, but that's not even people you want to have around.
Well said. So how do you develop personalized social media solutions for people? Like what are some of the steps you take to identify what you need to target and how to build out their custom solution?
Yeah, so we've actually streamlined the process really well right now. First thing is we gotta meet you, right? Like we gotta go one on one on a Zoom call, ask you questions about the business, how you operate, and then we're gonna send once the client says like, "Hey, I'm ready to go. I really like the plan we built." So it's like basically same thing we're doing now. It's just one on one. It's like, what's your plan? What's your goal? What do you want to do with your business? Once we find that out, we just kind of build the plan together. Then once the plan's built, we're gonna send them to a form where they basically solidify everything, right? Where it's like, what's your product? What's your service? And then once the form is submitted, then we build out kind of like a brand kit, right? Then with that brand kit, we just send it to our team. Team gets the videos edited. They set up the advertising, They set up all the CRMs, they set up all the text automations, email automations, and basically, very, very easy process. Really, the most time consuming part is the one-on-one call.
And how long does it take you to get this whole set up for everybody?
Yeah, so between discovery phase to getting everything launched, it's about 3 to 5 days.
That's pretty fast.
Yeah, we try to make everything. There's so many companies right now, and it's very hard for people to trust a marketing agency. A lot of people have been burned by marketing agencies in the past, and we try to make the process as easy and comfortable as possible for our clients. Like, we don't want people to feel like, oh, I just got ripped off of 5 grand, right? If it takes more than a week to get things done, right, and they don't hear about you for a week, their first thought is gonna be like, I got scammed.
Mm. So why do you like frame it like the only service, Sergio, you offer is business growth? Like, why is this all just business growth? And like, why is that the way to communicate that so well?
Yeah, the reason we communicate it as business growth is because people look at leads as just phone numbers and emails, right? But the reality is that you can't close deals with leads you don't have, right? So a lot of business owners, when they're running ads, they just look at it as a cost. They look at it as like, hey, I'm spending money on this. It's not yielding any results. The reason it's not yielding results is because they're not targeting it towards growing their business. They're just targeting to generating leads. So the reason we target it as business growth is because our goal is to generate as many opportunities as possible for the business owner to close deals with.
And you've already been using AI for some time, even before it's become as big of this trend today. How have you been using AI to effectively help your clients and to help them grow?
Yeah, I mean, dude, AI is like the biggest thing right now. If you're not using AI for your business, you're gonna get left behind. Just because we've been able to reduce the time it takes to get tasks done by like 80% in some areas. We use AI for content creation, so all of our creatives, all of our ads are made by AI. Meaning the captions, the music, the editing, everything's done with AI. The only thing we're doing is we're collecting the clips and putting them into the editor. Number two, when we're doing podcast, all the clipping is done by AI. Our SMS messages done with AI. Our phone calls. So like when a lead comes in, we're using AI to qualify the lead. So our leads are qualified, more qualified than ever. We're using AI for kind of backend automation stuff. So like connecting spreadsheets with CRMs, connecting leads to a salesperson, different stuff in terms of operations. And then right now, the biggest things out of everything is definitely the sales. So we've automated a lot of the sales process using SMS and voice AI.
I mean, yeah, it seems to be that's just so much more convenient for you. I mean, that's like the whole content creation process is automated with AI. I mean, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, all my VSLs and all my case studies are done with AI.
Wow. So, I mean, you offer business growth as a service, but that encompasses a lot of different things. Do you see like what you offer as a service changing over time, and like what have you like how have you stayed on top of like the current trends and the demand that is here presently for that, and just try to make your services as innovative as possible? How do you keep doing that and keep meeting where the demand is?
Yeah, so basically, there's an analogy where it's like you can't give a dog a pill. You gotta give it around the bread, a piece of bread, or like around uh, ham, right? So it's not necessarily what people want. You get or what people need. You gotta give them what they want. So that's a great question. We find out first is what they want. So obviously, people want AI, right? But a lot of the times, AI actually makes the process a lot harder than actually using a person to do it. So, for example, in our case, when we're doing video creatives, if we're having it automated by any way, we put the name of AI. So that's one way we innovate is just kind of like making sure that the person doesn't see the actual process, making it super, super streamlined for them. And then second is staying up to date with founders. If you like the number one way you can actually learn and catch up to like the latest trends is become friends with the people that are actually building things that are popular, right? So if you want to learn about AI, become friends with people that are running AI softwares. If you want to learn about payment processing, surround yourself with people that are at the top of the game with payment processors. Because they'll just be like, yo, my competitor just launched, because they're the ones that they're doing the research for you and they'll deliver it to you through that. If that makes sense. It's very difficult to be up to date with everything. But if you have other people that you can constantly have conversations about a certain topic and learn from them, that's the best way to go about it.
So you've developed a network over time of just a lot of people building, especially in AI, and so it gives you the most amount of insights into what's going on. You're like, okay, I got to bring this into what I'm doing, and or that's not as important. It gives you the best insights of everything, and you can just pick and choose.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mhm. That's good. That's definitely smart. So, what do you want to do now? Like, what are some of your short term goals, your long term goals? Like, what's your big picture vision for Influx, for where you want to be at in life?
Yes, that's a great question. So I love building. Like that's like my number one thing. It's obviously at the beginning I wanted to start the business to make money. Now I'm at the point where making money is not the most exciting part about running a business. And in terms of building, right now I'm working on a software called PickPup. That's kind of like I'm shifting my mind from the agency to now building PickPup because the agency is mainly automated. It makes a really good amount of money, but there's not much building done to it. Like the building has been done over the last 4 years. So now PickPup is just basically an app. It's imagine DoorDash and imagine Airbnb. So we're basically connecting different dog services like dog walking, dog grooming, dog hotels, everything that you can think of that simplifies the dog owner's life. And we're offering pickup services. So from their phone, they can schedule services, they can schedule a pickup, they can schedule a delivery for their dog. So it's just basically simplifying the whole process of owning a dog. So now that's kind of like my main goal now is just building that, growing that. I want to make that $1 billion company. So that's the goal now with that. Long-term goals and personal, obviously, want to grow my faith. I want to be healthier. That's kind of like the goals that everybody has. But I'm a very focused person. Like I like to do one thing at a time. So like my main goal now is just get PickPub started. Right, I want to get it fully launched to the public, and then after that, I guess my goal would be just get more users for the platform.
And how's that development going? Like, when are you planning to get that out, and what's it going to look like?
Yeah, so we're actually starting it as a landing page. So we're just going to run ads to a landing page and then use some of our backend systems to connect it. So people on the front end, they'll look at it. It'll look like an app. It'll look like software, but it really isn't. It's just a landing page with kind of like animations and graphics to make it look better. But then like the whole backend system is done through Go High Level, and then we're splitting the lead information to the homes, to the dog houses. Obviously, the goal is to bring it all in house, make it super streamlined, because now it's just the the merchant just gets a text message every time somebody books. Like the goal is to have it like in a nice dashboard where it's like bookings for the day, all that stuff. But that right there is going to launch in the next week and a half,
Oh,
the
really
first
soon.
version. Yeah, so it's very
That's
exciting.
exciting. Yeah. So, what made you so passionate about this idea specifically? Like, you're a big dog person?
So I'm a big dog person. Yes, I have a dog. I hate dealing with the dog, with like the actual task of it, because I do travel a lot. So like finding a place where he can stay, where it's actually trustworthy, having to drive 30 minutes to that place because nowhere else is available to take the dog. Somewhere where the dog can get showered properly, it's not going to get sick. That's very difficult. So we want to be able to simplify that for dog owners. And the second thing is, I want to build something that's sticky, something where it's people use it every day, and if it were to be taken away from them, it would completely change the way they do their schedule and their life. And this is something great because their dog is a part of everybody's life for the next 15 years, which means we have a super high lifetime value. Like if once we get a client, we're going to have it for the rest of the lifespan of the dog, basically, right? So it's super cool to be able to simplify that whole process, help the people out in terms of, yeah, you don't need to get rid of the dog. Like we're going to make it so easy that your dog is not a difficult thing to deal with anymore. But then the other thing with that as well is that people are going to go to work. They need somewhere to put their dog. They're going to rely on our software to pick up the dog. The day that our software leaves the platform, let's say the software shuts down, now they have to find another thing to do with their dog while they're at work. So it's like a complete reality change for the users of our platform if our platform goes black, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, do you view this like like an Airbnb model almost, where like people can sign up and say, I'll take your dog in, and like you have like this network of all of that?
Yes. So the goal, there's something called dog boarding, where it's like you can leave your dog for a month, 2 months, a week, 2 weeks, depending on how long you're going. So we're basically just partnering up with boarding houses. We're having those boarding houses in the platform, just like Airbnb model, but instead of you living in the house, you have a dog that goes there. We pick up and drop off the dog for you as well.
Hmm. So, just the last question I have: if you had to break down like a couple goals right now, like short term goals, long term goals that you want to hit, what are those goals?
Yeah, I mean, short term goals, they've shifted just because the software's the next thing that I'm working on and building. It's definitely having a lot of longevity and focusing more on making the best software possible, right? More than just making the most amount of money, which is kind of what the agency was about. There's really not much excitement that comes with that kind of business model. It's not a sexy business. It's just like, hey, we help people grow. So obviously, like the goal was like get the best results, but once you do that, there's not much to grow from that, right? Like it's just getting more clients. So now with the software, it's like I want to build the best software possible in the dog area, possibly become number one in the app store at some point. That's kind of what I want to. That's kind of like the short term goal. Long term goal is impact billions of people's lives through the software.
Definitely love that. And it's good you have a positive spin that you want to have on this. Sergio, thanks for taking the time and doing this. And I'm definitely excited to see what's going to happen with this new dog idea that you have. I think there's a lot of potential there. There's everybody wants to figure out what to do with their dog on a trip, and it's not easy to find the right locations. So you're definitely solving a big problem, and I look forward to what's going to come there. So appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, of course, Ben. Thank you so much. Obviously, I'll keep you in the loop. But yeah, I think super, super, super excited to launch that and get everything going.